And now we're live from downtown Roubaix. We're on a new work notes page. I didn't start it right away, so I'll just leave it on each bit if you were not here and catching up.
Just grown big again.
What did you just say? Are you turning the unicorns into vegan leather? Did you say?
He did.
Watch.
I'm pretty sure a unicorn would not qualify.
What?
Although there is a gentleman at the German border crossing who had to defend his can.
What is that?
I think it was unicorn span
Oh yeah.
or can unicorn.
Oh
It was
What's
a
up? It's probably just
it was a joke gift. There used to be a store called Geek.com or something.
Geek?
CoolGeek.com or something. It just sold like cool little nerdy toys. And they had canned unicorn that they did as an April Fool's joke. So many people tried to order it, they came out with it for real. And what it was, a large can, inside of it was a stuffy unicorn, dismembered, that you could attach.
That's insane.
Yes, but anyway,
Reattach it.
but this gentleman in Germany bought it, it's an American company, when he went to, what do you have to pay on things you import?
The gametes from the parents were
Shipping?
No, it's shipping and there's usually border fees of some kind. So you had to go pick it up. Customs, you had to go to customs. Customs wanted to charge an extra because you can't, and
gametes from the parents.
they were worried the meat was might not allowed in Germany because it wasn't on the list of approved animals.
But this is
We're trying to explain that unicorns don't exist and it's a joke.
not F1.
Oh my
If it was
god.
just an F, it was
Zero.
The Germans are of course renowned. Pardon?
Could you put what it looks like? Like the unicorn span.
I am recording, but at the same time,
Do stallions have sperm?
I'm always a little worried what will come up with internet search if I type.
People like salad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like to get like the
Yeah.
food
Like
things.
more stuff.
Yeah, to get like
If
the
we put that
fastest
in a
rolls.
table of the parents, if we have the
Yeah.
one capital.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
So it's got the genes for the
Big as hell, bro.
but you don't think?
Because this is the dad.
Oh my god.
6'8"?
Is
Why'd they show like the like bone? Unicorn meat.
they're all gonna be the same.
Attendance.
Think geek. Think like a geek.
Traveled all the way from Germany just to pick that.
Well, he was in Germany. We ordered it from the States and had to go through customs. Yeah. How many of you are done? Okay, just a couple. Keep working.
Question?
I'll come around, and I'm still trying to load attendance. I'll be there next. Now attendance is loading.
Oh yeah, because it says that.
Okay, Alexander here started here. There we go.
Oh, no wonder.
Oh, I think the phenotype.
He was on a trip yesterday. Tyler's here. Steve who's here.
I think they're all one. Where the phenotype is physical. Just right now.
This is Dorman. Sermons here. James here.
Just set it. Just set it.
I'm not answering the question. I want to put my best guess. We don't know what the terms mean.
Uppercase is
On 5 items.
You're not done. Why are you drawing on your knee?
There was
Finish. There's 2 pages. Are you done? Every question?
Yeah.
Flipped over the page? Whole bunch more questions. Chop, chop.
We're done.
shiny silver.
You're done.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Almost right.
You are done.
Like a
And you got numbers for everyone. Excellent.
pages.
What would the gametes or parents be?
Wait.
See, if you can figure out which ones are wrong. Well, the ones that are wrong have to do with really thinking about the definition of some of those terms. I fooled you, but some terms in there that don't make sense to you.
Is it good?
I haven't submitted
I
it.
know I think some of it is this is one
And
lecture.
Miss Babiani said I could.
Did
Mom
you
was
get-
failing in class.
Working.
Wait, what do you do?
So we spend the first 3 hours on
To the next step, like, you want to do two things. Right? Hang on to it. Well done.
I'm trying to think of what's the
Excellent.
practice as well.
John?
Show the contrast between two.
Go, go, go.
What?
Half the class is now done.
Oh, wait. This is
I should probably move this up for the people who weren't here. A couple more definitions. Let it sit, let it sit, let it sit. Pause the film, write it down. So, these are all monohybrid crosses. We did the phenotypic ratio and the genotypic ratio for the F1 cross, which was crossing that. So we put that into there and the other one.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
And then there are the ratios that we did in class.
That's so funny. I found
Apologies for not recording from the beginning. And then we did a practice problem that was identical to this. Practice problem, there's two little kitty cats, long hair, short hair, making a long hair, that's heterozygous. Breed, that's the F1. Breed, the F2, so this is the F2 generation. What offspring do you get? These are the gametes on either side, labeled. And then each box is worth 25%. So in this one we did ratios not only with 3 to 1 or 2 to 1 or whatever, but also with percent. So the phenotypic ratio is long to short, 75% to 25%. And the genotypic ratio is 25%, 50%, 25% for homozygous dominant, heterozygous, homozygous recessive. And then we started working on this practice problem that is in the new notes. If you work on a PDF remotely, please let me know and I will put up a blank copy of this note.
We saw like a chart.
Is there anybody not done?
Wait, what's the last one? How many would be?
Okay, and then this one's easy too.
Oh, you're just working on the notes? You make a few minutes?
Yeah, there's no such thing as heteros.
I think it's
Yeah, it's always they're all dominant. Yeah, no, they're not. They're 18.
Is it?
There's 3D and these two are hanging.
Kind of. Both Catholic. Yeah, okay, that's what I said. We better be
Okay, when I call your name, come up and write the answer to the question that is next. So, Natsuho, please answer question number 1. That way I don't have to write as much. Let's see, question number 2. Come on up. Guy. And number 3, 2 people can write at the same time. See who? Let's go.
Can I volunteer for
Which one do you want to volunteer for? Specifically for? Sure.
Single horn, right?
Yeah. Single horn corn.
Horn corn?
Guy, I know what you mean, but you put them all together. That looks like one parent with 4 genes. Maybe separating the mom and dad. Okay, sure. Yeah. You solved that with 1 line. Well done.
How do I turn this shit off? Wait, can I scroll down? Can I scroll down?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Shit.
Pretty happy birthday. Because I don't see you.
How do I scroll down?
Wow, the whole school's getting together.
How do you scroll down?
Look at one at a time.
Yes.
Wait, here. Oh! I study, bro. I study. Jeremy just studied.
Well well done.
Yeah,
I should give you a point for that too.
Thank you.
There we go. There we go.
Okay, we go.
Number 5. Isaac. It called you up. I gave you the point, but it likes you, so you have to do number 5 as well.
No. Yeah, that's good.
I didn't do number 5.
Oh, hold it. You did it.
Heterozygous, different.
You didn't do number 4.
Uppercase,
Oh, I did
lowercase.
number 5.
If it's
You did number 5.
uppercase, lowercase.
Yeah, I did.
Well, you're tweaking.
Hold it.
I predicted the future.
That's your first one.
Um,
That's wrong.
also, it's wrong. Okay, Isaac. You can either correct what the one or just do the other one, and I'll have someone do that one. Your choice. Are you going to do that one?
It's an uppercase H and lowercase H, right?
Are you doing the phenotype? Because that's genotype you just told me. The phenotype is like what it looks like. Unicorn or dicorn. Genotype is
Genotype would
gene.
be H and lowercase H.
It would be H and lowercase. Do you want to just fix
Yeah,
this
this
one?
is this one.
Why don't you just... Because they are all the same. That part was... Oop. Yeah. Okay, doing number 4. Zhao, come on up. And number 6, as soon as we're done, I'll flip the page. Jaden.
Could you check number 3?
Yep.
It looks like.
I'll check the whole page once we have them all down.
Yeah, 1. Yeah.
One horn. Excellent. So let's check. Which gene is dominant? Yes. We. How do we know that it's single horned?
All of them are unicorns.
All of them are unicorns? If the F1 generation, if it gets masked, then it can't be dominant. The dicorn was masked. It was homozygous, which means it was true breeding. What are the genotypes of the parents? We all agreed apparently to do H. Well done. By the way, you can choose whatever letters you want, but when we do it on the board, we'll try to be consistent. Gametes, ooh. These are not the gametes. That's the F1 generation. Because how many genes should the gametes have? And this also might be because they didn't separate it properly. They should have 1. So the gametes should actually be like from the male. Hold it, did I say which one was male?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, mare is homozygous 2-horned. So the male is H, and the female
It's not possible because it has to be one or the other.
Does that make sense for whoever did number 3?
This is 2.
Because
Oh, we were totally wrong. We were totally wrong. Bro, not me, bro.
Jen,
So what's the answer for 2? Is that correct?
one second.
They're just different.
Just different.
Like everybody's attention, because I know this one caused some confusion. The one that was a unicorn that was dominant was the mare. Mares are female. Stallions.
Mare's the 2-horned one.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
2-horn. Oh, it is.
Wait, is a mare a male?
No. Mare's never mind.
I read it wrong just now and then confused anyone.
Wait, so Stallion's a dude?
Yes, a stallion.
Is what, Megan the Stallion?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, okay, stop
That's
that.
the first thing you think of when you see
Because
Stallion.
she's a woman.
I know my type of
Yeah,
man.
don't think too deeply about pop artists' names.
Yeah.
And so for the male,
Yeah, why is that the first Stallion you think of? I don't know any other Stallion. I think I'm wrong.
there we go. Ahem. Not a glass. So whenever you are asked for the gametes, we're asking for the individual alleles because they get separated. If it happened to be heterozygous, so let's say one of them was like this, and I asked you for the gametes, then you would say, well, they have 2. They have 1 of each. Yes.
For number 3, wouldn't the H's be the other way around?
Did I just correct it and then not do it properly?
Number 3.
Correct? No, that's right.
This is number 3.
That's
Gametes for the parents?
female. Female should be lowercase h.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just like the logo.
Female. Oh, this. Yeah, I hadn't corrected
No,
that
it's
yet.
not sexist. It's literally what says in the poem.
Yeah. So, homozygous,
My bad. I'm really-
two-horned, mare, female.
Yes.
Gentlemen,
Wait, what if?
no, just we would say mare, female, two-horned, which turned out to be recessive, and homozygous, so they're both the same. And then homozygous one-horned stallion, unicorn turned out to be dominant, so it is capital H, and it's homozygous, so they're both the same. So let's double check that. Male, homozygous dominant, so its gametes will just have the capital, and female, homozygous, recessive, so its gametes will all be lowercase because they're homozygous, they didn't have any other one. Given that I mixed it up in the first place, any questions on that? Did any of you, also I used the words mare and stallion, which I apologize if that confused you. We do have separate terms for each type of species and whether they're male or female. That may come up again. What is the phenotype of the F1 generation? It is one-horned because it's dominant, it disappeared, and the genotype is heterozygous. Is a useful word to put down there. So, let's get more people to come up. Are there more questions? More questions?
Oh, I'm just helping because I studied.
Okay. Okay. I will set up the Punnett square, but I'll have someone come up and do it. And for number 6A, Charlie. 6B, Kiona. And that's all we can see. Two people can write it at a time.
Wait, Katie. Can you make sure I'm doing this right? Can we write?
Couple of things. That one's good. And that one's, I mean, not bad, but we always write the capital first.
Oh.
Here, whoa, stop. Because I just realized I'm going to get the eraser out. And then I'll put it back on pen. Now put it in. So just always write the capital first. It's just convention. To be honest, I don't even know if it's a real rule, but it looks weird when it's done the other way. Yeah, that's great. Excellent. Genotypic ratio. Tyler, come on in.
I'm still on part one.
But remember, you studied and you were tutoring him, so that's good.
Okay, yeah.
You can do this.
It's the same thing every time, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1.
Pretty much. Well, not every time. I've been giving you very similar problems just to get us used to it.
Okay. But like once we get more into it, it'll be
Yeah,
harder.
because you don't have to have each parent. We always have parents who are both heterozygous. That's not always the case.
Yeah, okay.
And for this one, I'm just going to ask people. You don't have to come up. What are these as percents for the phenotypic ratio? Arya? What are these as percents? 35, 25. And what are these as percents? Tyler? It called you again.
Oh, 25, 50, 35.
Wait, did you get 3 big moves, Tyler?
I think I should.
Okay. There are 80 offspring. How many are dicorns, please? Kiona. 20. There are 80 offspring. How many are heterozygous? Alexander?
40.
40.
1.5.
And how many have 1.5 corns? Natsuho? 0. Because there's no such thing. It gets completely masked. That will be more confusing later because there actually are conditions in which that kind of thing happens. Homozygous recessive, Katie? 20. And heterozygous recessive, Charlie? No. However, I know a lot of people had 40 because I saw it. It's not. More interesting. Gentlemen, why is it 0? Because 40 seems reasonable. Because what it is, there's 40 heterozygous. They do have a recessive gene, so you could be forgiven if you were like, oh, that seems like it would be 40, but technically it's 0.
Oh, yeah, because heterozygous, it will be dominant anyways.
Yes, you'll have the dominant trait. You cannot be homozygous recessive because that would be like both lowercase. It doesn't work if you're heterozygous.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a trick question. Ha ha. Yeah. Excellent. Let's do something.
No, I agree with the 0 part. I didn't agree with the 6.
Okay. Complete dominance. I'm gonna get flowers. We're munching.
The other trait.
No, we'll do that. Okay. We have now moved from Mendelian genetics into the scary and unusual world of non-Mendelian genetics. And this is where one trait doesn't mask the other trait. Yes.
So, an incomplete dominance, let's say, if you have a red flower, if you have a red flower and a white flower, and then you mix it together, but it's incomplete dominance, so it would be pink.
It would be pink. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Totally.
Medium-haired cat.
So, a medium-haired cat. Yeah. Yeah.
1.5 corns.
So, a red flower.
I am completely dominant.
Oh, why don't I do it in the actual colors? Red flower, homozygous, is mated with a white flower. We still use uppercase and lowercase. There are a few textbooks that will actually use uppercase for both. I find that confusing. Traditionally, we do it this way because we also have something called codominance we're going to do afterwards. And it's easier to keep it in mind if you keep that the same. The offspring are, as you said, let's see if I can get an actual pink, are pink. And this is wrong, and I didn't see that I wrote this. I changed it last year based on some textbooks and feedback, and then I went and double checked, and at a university, they're like, no, that's just some people in the world, they're crazy. So we are going to say the same letters. It does use upper and lower case, but we don't want to confuse it with codominance later on, so we're going to do that. We get a blend of the dominant and recessive.
Is that like green eyes?
No, that's actually a totally different allele.
Oh, so you can have 3 alleles?
It's just
From your parents, yet what we haven't considered is that I tend to restrict it. You have brown eyes, or you have blue eyes, or you have brown eyes, but we also have bluey green eyes. because we have brown eyes and we have green eyes, and we can't use the same letter. So there's more than more than two alleles out there in the world. You can have someone with green eyes. It turns out to be a recessive trait. But when you look at green and blue, they're both recessive. With each other, you could. They often are more like incomplete dominance or codominance. You get like greeny blue eyes. Teal. Yeah.
That'd be so tough. I look weird for some reason. That'd be so tough. Like staring at just so many two eyes. I have so many eyes. That's what comes from.
So do I. One's eyes.
We're going to do the F parent, and we'll do them as crosses. Oh, where'd they go? Angry. Oh, maybe it's here. They're here. Please get out your pencil crayons or label. We are going to cross the parents. There's no pencil crayons back there. Get out any color you have, or just label. Do it as you will. We have homozygous parents, and we are going to have some of the children be pink. So it's somewhat arbitrary which one you pick. Oftentimes we, as humans, pick the more startling color to be the dominant one because we're saying it's trying to overcome. But really, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Maybe white's trying to overcome red, and that's why it's pink. But I will arbitrary, just to make sure we're all doing it consistently the same, that it is red and white.
It can be pink and white.
Okay. Separate into the two. Get out the cross. Note colors. Genotypic, phenotypic ratios, which for this one should be quite easy. As I said, you often don't need to do a whole Punnett square, but for this we will. And either draw or color. And then do the F2 cross. This is the F1 generation. Do then cross the F1. And show their genotypic and phenotypic ratio, because we will compare that to a regular Mendelian dominant recessive.
Does cross mean F1 plus F1, or what is it?
Oh, yeah, the cross means take 2 of the children, because all of these should be identical, and breed them together, whether they like it or not.
Wait, how do we decide which one is pink?
What do you mean, how do you decide? There's only one possibility that's pink. If you're homozygous,
Yeah, they're all.
you're either red or white.
You know, as in like, so you're saying where they're all gonna be pink.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Wait, in incomplete, is there still dominant and recessive?
Yes. We still label it like they're dominant and recessive because one's trying to mask the other, is how we make an analogy out of it.
Incomplete, they become
Yeah,
like,
and the reason we're still using that is because when I do, here, I'll jump ahead for a second. That's an example. Codominance. Where's the magic? There it is. Delete that. There's also, why didn't we get red and white? So red and white can make pink, but you can also get both traits. A long-haired cat and a short-haired cat could get long and short hair. The both could be present. You might only notice the long hair, but they're both there. And this is why you get greeny blue eyes. They're both present and being there. And really, the reason why brown is dominant is not because the blue isn't being expressed. It's just that brown is such a strong color, you don't notice it. It just becomes part of the brown. And so codominance is when you see both traits. Whereas, and for those, we're going to use different letters, R and W, because they're both dominant. But for here, we're using the same letter to show its incomplete dominance. They're still merging. Yes?
Can this, like, dominance and that kind of stuff still apply for, like, non-visible traits?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all sorts of like, what do you mean by non-visible traits? I should probably ask a question there.
Like something inside you.
Well, yeah, how your organs are,
Yeah.
your metabolism. For example, when it's not really a secret that I have a spawn who has a metabolic disorder. One thing they do with all the parents, if you have a child like that, is they'll sit you down for what they call genetic counseling, and they explain to you simple Mendelian genetics. Because if your child has the disease, but neither of you have the disease, then genetic counseling is explaining genetics to people to say, okay, your child has it. What would the chance be of a future child having it? Nope. If you have another child, what's the chance of that child having it? 25%. Because it's probably a recessive gene in both of you. And so any child has a 25% chance. And that's something that you should know, because it's something you should be aware of if you have another child, because if they have that condition, it might be useful to know earlier. In addition to that, people want to know what are the chances we have another child. There's other complexities. If it's a sex-linked trait, as in it's on the X or Y chromosomes, that can affect how that's gone. And it might also not be a simple Mendelian trait. It might be a thing. So you didn't know you had a child. They have this disorder. You have it too. It just expressed itself very mildly and you never noticed. An example of that is what they used to call pseudo-SIDS. Hold it. Do you know what SIDS is? Oh, great. You are wonderful people who have a bright and sunny view of life. SIDS is sudden infant death syndrome. It's when you put your child to bed and they're a little baby, and you come back the next morning and they just die. And there's no reason why. And it's called sudden infant death syndrome because that's literally what it is. A child died and they have no idea why. If you have ever taken, how many of you have gone through a babysitting course? How do you put a child down to sleep? On their front or their back? On their back. The huge back to sleep, not front to sleep. When I was a boy, I put my brothers to bed when they were babies, because I was the eldest child and I was in charge, on their front, because they liked that. And they quickly trained parents, put them on their back, because for reasons we don't know, when they're put on the back, SIDS goes down. We literally don't know. And there used to be a condition they thought was SIDS, and they now call pseudo-SIDS. And what it was, is they actually found out one of the reasons, and it had to do with their metabolism. They would run out of a certain chemical, and then they would just die. Now you give them that chemical, and then they don't. And then when they're older, they're fine. However, an adult was diagnosed with it when he was his child was diagnosed, and they were like, this is weird because you both should have it. It's a dominant trait, and one of you definitely should have it. Like, what's going on? And they found out they just never happened to have gone into a condition where that happened to them. They never slept long enough when they were a baby for that to happen. So they just were extremely lucky in childhood and managed to get through. So sometimes genetic counseling is like, do you have it too? There's lots of traits and conditions that do blending, that although the trait is there, it may express itself in different ways. And we also gain greater recognition of things over time. You may find out like, oh, hey, I've got ADHD, or I've got, a touch of the autism, and I need to learn how to talk to people and learn. And like, you're going, this doesn't run in my family, except for, Grandpa, who's really obsessed about trains and has this train hobby and collects 1,000 of them. And you look at Grandpa and go, oh, yeah. It does run in my family. So, understanding this genetics is there's a ton of conditions that you will find out later on, probably that will apply to you. Knowing this will help you out a little bit in life and understanding what the heck is going on. So, you could do those and answer your questions. Yes?
Hazel eyes, is it incomplete dominance or co-dominance?
Oh,
It's not a real thing.
It's, even though it's not a real thing.
not a real thing.
There are two genes.
How the genes are expressed, there's often factors in your development of how much melanin you may produce. So it may not be genetic that you will get hazel eyes. It just might be like how much hormone were you exposed to in the womb at the right time that determined how much actually that gene got expressed. I showed the other day, right? Yeah. Like for reasons we're not entirely sure, if you are a second born child, the ratio of your finger lengths can predict how good you are going to be at sport, because they predict how much testosterone you were exposed to in the womb, both male and female. There's a geneticist who will tell you the product of who will predict with higher than statistical chance who's going to win a race, just based on that.
Can you tell why when an Asian person really get together and they have three babies, the youngest one looks the widest?
Oh, yeah, because with me and my siblings, my mom lost all the ink when birthing us. So we go down and we look for white bumpers. Because that's quite,
Okay, one, I am so complimented that you think I would know something that obscure and that detailed. I don't even know. My first instinct is, I don't know if that's real or just maybe that happened in your family. Like, it's a real thing.
it's really common, if you look in
The reason I say I don't know if it's real is that if you ask, how many of you have doctors ask them if the emergency room gets more busy than the full moon. Pretty much all of them say it will, because the full moon makes people crazy. It is statistically untrue. There's no more emergency room visits, but you notice it. I don't know if you're just noticing it the last child. I don't know. What would you call it?
like my sister,
Yeah.
she'll be called she'll get asked if she's Hawaiian or Filipino. I look like something before 100% white.
Yeah.
That's how on the different sides.
Yeah, like my
My dad, my brother is
I do have, since I have a background, I know the right journals. Email me the question. I'll see if anybody's done research on it and to see if it's a real thing.
Oh, really?
Well, why not? It's an interesting thing for us. Okay, but while you're talking or asking questions, please work on those. I want to go around and check them.
Can you explain them? Because I don't know.
Oh, I have not heard of that. It would make sense because blue is still being expressed. So they can specifically pinpoint the brown dye and, I don't know, remove it, because if you get it to vibrate with a precise, dyes absorb light. So if you use the right wavelength of light, you can get that molecule to vibrate and explode, basically, break itself apart. You could probably wipe out a color. That's how that's how they remove dyes in your skin. You want to remove it too. The thing is, I would heat your eye, but honestly, I would have thought that would cook your eye. So if they're able to be that precise, I'm assuming that's a very expensive treatment.
No, definitely. But if my mom has blue eyes, I get it. Not that I want to.
Maybe. But if you don't have the gene there, it'll just be less brown.
Wait, Mr. Neufeld,
Yeah.
does the F2 generation thing only work if the parents are siblings?
What's that?
Does it only work if the
Sorry, what?
Does the F2 generation, does this work only if the parents are siblings?
Oh, no. It's just it's a very easy way to introduce a topic and have you do it. We don't always do this.
Okay. Oh, also I think the Asian thing is real because Eric's little brother,
Yeah?
he's like blonde hair.
I should have gone
Really?
to Pilates.
Interesting.
I wanted to. It would be so tough.
There's no way for the genes to quote unquote run out. Like that's weird. I mean, I know, the reason I'm not sure, I know a family, they run a restaurant in Vancouver, or they did run a restaurant, I actually don't know, I did, they're friends of a friend, called Salt and Pepper, because one was black, one was white, so that was the name of the restaurant. And their kids were like basically the purest white you've ever seen, the purest white you've ever seen, the purest white you've ever seen, the blackest kid you've ever seen is these youngest. And so it's like completely the opposite. But the way chromosomes are shared and how that does, I'd be curious if there's a statistical like, oh yeah, this kind of does happen. We don't know why, or we do know why. If I could have, see who, fill out the first Punnett square, and Zhao, second Punnett square. Oh, it's on select.
Oh.
Just click the pen right there. There you go. Yeah, there you go. And here. We have 2 pens. You can go 2 at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 50% chance.
What? How do I raise it?
Write that in the email right now.
Oh.
I'm like, I'm a little uncomfortable discussing things like race and things like that.
I'm allowing you. I'm just you.
It's genetics, and it's kind of how is that?
No, but like if you lie.
One thing I need to emphasize strongly.
What should the subject be?
Just like how traits from your different ethnic groups. But I want to emphasize, because we often use the term race is not a biological concept. Human beings don't have different races. If you looked at any other species, we wouldn't use that term.
Why?
Because it's not a thing really. People, especially in today's modern political climate, people are trying to make
It's so obvious. Yeah, wait, where'd you get that? Bro, there's no way your dad.
What?
Yeah, I think that's it.
But if it was the whole thing, it was
Bro, I know Mr. Gibson's like
What the?
codominance or anything. There's no likelihood. It just depends on how they're expressed. So it's a very specific, this type of gene is this type of gene. It's also there's like for icon. It just takes the straight.
It's like 10 a.m.
I know.
At 10 a.m.
Blue, green, or we often have. But then you get cases.
What you would say that?
Where one person has one gene, just because they can express
Just kidding.
Oh my god.
Yo, let me
I lost 300.
What? Hold it. What? Oh, I see.